What is going on, guys? This is the first episode of the Tendercast with me and my boy Seabass.
Hey, what's up?
We're just gonna kind of get into the groove of things in this first episode and see what we're gonna talk about and just figure out our flow. But it's probably gonna be pretty clunky the first few episodes. So Seabass, how was your week?
Man, just been chilling, working, not really doing much.
Right on. I mean, you can't really do much nowadays. I mean, they did lift the mask mandate in California, so. But honestly, I just think that's kind of gonna bring us back to square one a little bit.
Yeah,
What do you
well,
think? Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
well,
I
I
guess we'll just have to see.
yeah, well, I think that like a lot of people, especially in California, I feel like a lot of them are vaccinated, so it's like, I guess it's a good thing, but some people might not be vaccinated and they're not wearing a mask, so that's their problem. But at least for my sake, I'm vaccinated, so like, I still wear my mask when I go around. Sometimes I won't, but at least for my own sake, I'm already vaccinated, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I definitely get that. Because some people can totally just walk into different enterprises or businesses and say that they have the COVID vaccine, and if that place isn't enforcing COVID vaccine, what do you call them? Like the COVID vaccine reports, so like your card, your vaccination card. Like if they don't enforce that, then they could totally just say, "Oh yeah, I have the vaccine. I don't have to wear a mask." Walk in, do their business, and walk out. No questions
Yeah,
asked, that type of thing. Um, I remember my girlfriend, her friends, and I went to Six Flags. I would say about a couple weeks ago. Oh no, maybe about a week ago. And dude, as we bought the tickets about 2 weeks before the mask mandate got lifted, and about a week before we went is when the mask mandate got lifted, and it was super busy, huge crowds of people bunched up together. About 75% of the people there were not wearing their mask. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it was insane. Like I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping about people not wearing their masks. I mean, but when you're around that many people and bunched up together, it can get pretty, like it's surreal. It's like I don't understand how we go from having a full-on pandemic to in a couple weeks, people just doing whatever the hell they want. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
I think this is really gonna bring us back a little bit, and I think that this is why California, out of most of the states, does have, especially LA, the LA area does have the most cases. I don't know. I just think we definitely could have. I understand that people are sick of like the whole
yeah.
mask thing, but I mean, we've done this for a couple of years now, right? I think that's
It's
how
been
long
like
COVID has
it's
been
been
up
like a
and
year and a
running.
half. Well, COVID's been
A year and a
around. I
half.
want to say it's been around for a while because I remember back like December, November 2019, I think. I remember
Yeah,
getting tweets about like China, you know, getting these like outbreaks. There's people like I remember one day right before school, like senior year, I woke up to like a tweet saying like, um, 20 people dead in China because of the COVID virus, and I'm like, at the time I didn't like think it was gonna be like such a a big deal like it was like 5 months later where the whole entire world's on lockdown. But when I read that tweet, I was like, huh, like that's pretty interesting. Like I've heard about the COVID virus before, but I think like when I saw that tweet, I just didn't take into account like how much worse it could get. I just thought this was something that was never going to come here to the U.S. We've grown up here to be so privileged that everything that happens outside of the U.S. we don't really pay attention to it because we kind of just like live in our own little circle here in the states. So it's like whatever happens out there, we all think, oh, it's not going to come here. It's not going to happen. So when it happened, like in March, everybody was like going crazy. Everybody was freaking out. They were, buying everything off the shelves. People were like legitimately like going insane. They thought this was the end of the world. Everything's gonna collapse. I mean, but like they have all the right to think that because we're so used to like not experiencing such things like a pandemic. No one's used to this. Like all the older people who I've spoken with, they've all said they've never experienced anything like this. So I mean,
yeah,
it makes total sense to think that, but I think a lot of it too is that like living here in the United States, we are really privileged, and we are kind of spoon fed sometimes. like a lot of like morals and like I guess just overall we're much more we have much more to be thankful for than other countries. So, when I read that tweet, I was like, oh, like, this probably won't be an issue like outside of China, but next thing you know, like a couple months later, like, the whole entire world's pretty much locked down. So I think a lot of it has to do with, us, or I guess the world not really, paying attention to it, not really being, responsible, in preventing the spread. But, a lot of it is, a lot of us, who live, I want to say everyone like in the world, not just here in the U.S., like no one thought this was going to happen. Like no one's experienced a pandemic in our lives. Like it's been, I don't know when the last one was. It was probably like over 100 years ago. Because, like I said, everyone who I've spoken with who are older have never experienced anything like this. So this is definitely something that maybe. Well, I mean, the Spanish flu happened like during the 1900s, I think.
Hmm.
So a lot
Yes.
of like
Yeah.
a lot of the elderly people might know like how it feels to live in a pandemic, but I want to say the majority of the people who are living right now have never experienced anything. So I don't blame the people who like went crazy and like went like, oh my god, this pandemic, full lockdown, let's just buy everything off the shelves. I don't blame them. Like I understand why they would think that. They want to put their family first and be safe, and that's cool. But I think all of us should have paid more attention to COVID when it first, struck
Of
out
course.
in China. Yeah, because I remember, like I said, I read that tweet and I was like, I woke up and I was
Thought the
like,
same
oh,
thing.
yeah, oh,
Yeah.
20 people dead in China. Like, okay, well, like, I don't know. I was pretty ignorant. I was like, this isn't gonna happen here. Like, it's not gonna come to the U.S. But I remember reading it and I was like, that's really interesting. And now that
I
I
just think
think
it's
about
very
it,
surreal for sure. Yeah.
yeah. So when I saw that tweet that morning, I was like, holy shit. Like, I don't know. I just thought about it and it just stuck in my head because I remember I woke up. It was I think December of
Hmm.
2019. I woke up. I saw that tweet and I was like, damn, like 20 people. Because I remember like over time it was getting much and much worse. I remember getting tweets of it saying like two dead, five dead, and then now no, it's 20 now, and I'm like, okay, well maybe we should start paying attention more. But everyone's at fault here. We all kind of underestimated it. So it's
I could definitely
that.
get behind that for sure. Yeah, because about the whole Spanish flu thing, I believe you were right. I did happen, I believe, around the 1919, early 1900s. I think about 1920 or somewhere around there. That's when it started. And I honestly think that COVID is very much, I'm not religious or anything, and I'm not superstitious, but I do believe in karma, and I do believe in that you get what you put into the world. And I think COVID, as bad as it was, and as hard as it is for many people to deal with, it's definitely a learning. It's a it's a way for America to learn that it's not just us in the world. And I think that a lot of people who do live in the US, like you stated previously, do live in that little bubble where anything that happens outside the US is definitely none of our concern. I love the US, I love the country that we live in, but it definitely showed us that we need to start paying attention a lot more in the media, mainstream media specifically, to start paying attention more about what goes on around the world, and definitely making sure that we take these things seriously because when I started hearing news about a COVID pandemic possibly coming over to the US, I just kind of like, I wish I didn't, and I wish I wasn't as ignorant as I was, but I did say things like, okay, this isn't going to happen over here. This is definitely just like something that's going to stay around Wuhan, the site, what do you call it, Site Zero or something like that.
I don't know the name, but I kind
Uh,
of know what you're talking about.
yeah. So, I just thought it was going to kind of stay around there and it might have gone to other parts around China, maybe even neighboring countries. But I did not think it was gonna end up being a thing here in the US because even though the US has faced its hardships, we have not faced a hardship dealing with any type of virus outbreak. And so this was something new for us, and it's something that really made a lot of us mad, especially you and me, because it sucks to say that, like, oh, because the pandemic has affected so many things in my life, but I guess I could say the biggest thing to me was like high school. So when you and me were attending high school, we were in our first half of our senior year when the pandemic ended up taking us out of high school, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
We were not going on campus anymore, and it definitely took away a lot of our youth and a lot of things that we should have experienced. And I'm not trying to be self-centered, and I'm not trying to base the whole pandemic around that experience, but it did suck when I was not able to go to prom or experience graduation with you guys. We go to school for, the first 18 years of our life, and those 18 years you build the relationship with people that you're going to see and talk to outside of high school.
yeah,
And to be with you on graduation and the other homies and stuff, it would have been a great experience. And it just sucked that this pandemic did have to happen when we were supposed to experience that. I think I honestly I can say I like to look things in a positive note. I could definitely say that COVID and the reason why it happened, there's always a reason why stuff happens, in my opinion. And I think it was definitely a lesson. It was a lesson for us and a lesson for all the states in the US and especially the countries around the world. And it really showed us to be grateful for the things that we did have. I mean, who would have thought that our basic things that we do every single day, be able to go out without a mask and shop, be able to hang out with your friends and not have to stay 6 feet apart or wear a mask or be worried about passing an infection down to family members who might be not as fortunate with their health, and worry about you giving them something that could possibly put them in the hospital. There are so many things that we took for granted pre-COVID, and I honestly think that COVID has made us all grateful for the basic things in life. Like when I was able to hang out with you and our other friends and stuff without having to worry about masks and just be able to have a good time, it really made me appreciate that time that I had with you guys
yeah. Same here.
and other people in my life that I love. And I like to look at, I mean, at first I was pissed off. I was an ignorant kid. And I think these past year and a half, 2 years have really shaped me into the person I am today. And I could definitely say that I'm not glad that COVID happened, but I can see it in a positive light and say that I have become a better person from experiencing this. And obviously, there are other hardships in the world that are way worse than this, but um, I could definitely say that I've learned a lot, and
Yeah,
and I've learned to appreciate my family more. I've learned to appreciate my girlfriend and her family. I've learned to appreciate you guys more, my friends, and as soon because this pandemic isn't obviously going to last forever,
right.
but its effects are going to last a very long time, and I could safely say that it the world around us is beautiful. We need to take care of it, and we need to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, 100%.
And
I
and
was gonna,
it's just
I was gonna say something. Sorry to interrupt.
go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of the opposite for me when COVID, happened, or I should say when the pandemic, when it was labeled as a pandemic, a global pandemic, and school got and everything. I was like low key thriving. I was like at home. I don't know. For me, whenever I have like lesser responsibilities to do in life, I find myself focusing more on like kind of like on myself because I feel like with more responsibility, I focus more on what I should be doing rather than what needs to be done for myself. So when school got out and everything, you're supposed to go to sleep early, on a school night, wake up early for school. For instance, senior year, I woke up like at 5:45 every morning. And so when the pandemic hit, like for some reason, I was able to keep a steady sleep schedule because during school I would go to bed at like 1, 2 in the morning, and I have to wake up, like I said, at 5:45. It was really bad. But for some reason, like during the pandemic, like when everything was on lockdown, everyone just stayed at home. I found myself going to sleep every day at like 10. I woke up every morning at like 6:30, and literally all I would just do is like just play video games. I really had nothing else to do. I just sit on my phone, be here at home. But like every day, I managed to wake up early, and I don't know. For some reason, I found that those couple months of lockdown to be pretty good because like I've always been cool at being at home. Nowadays, I can't really say that because I'm kind of used to like going to work and going out. But like back like in senior year, like around that time, like I didn't really mind it. I was just at home playing video games, doing my homework. Like I really didn't mind it like at all. But it was definitely a big transition that I think a lot of people weren't able to handle. And but I'm just thankful that at least for myself, I was like cool with it and that I could do it. But for a lot of people, I know like it brought them a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. Um, but I think over time, they're just a lot of people at first were probably in denial, especially us who were in our senior year. We just couldn't believe it. A lot of people were like scared for the future. They didn't know what was going to happen. And I could say the same because for myself, I was like, how is college going to go? Like, is it still going to be around, when we're off to college? How is it going to be? But at the time when it first happened, when everybody was just at home, I was like thriving. I was like, man, I don't have to wake up early for school. I can just stay here at home all day. I can just do homework online. Like, I could just like cheat all day. Like, I didn't really like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't really take it seriously. Like, not the pandemic itself. Like, I took it really seriously. Everywhere I went, I tried to stay, socially distanced as much as possible from other people if I was out at the grocery store. But for the most part, I was, always here at home. Work shut down now, for like 2 or 3 months. So, I was just laying at home, pretty much doing nothing. But, but like apart from COVID itself, I just found myself just always just chilling at home, being a lazy sack of shit. I don't know. I didn't really do that much exercise either. Like I probably should have, but like I'm so lazy when it comes to like doing at home exercises. Like I gotta be like at a gym or somewhere else to do exercise because like if I'm just here at home, I'll get too comfortable and like I'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna push it off. But
Dude,
yeah,
that's so funny. I was the complete opposite. I mean, as soon, you know me. I used to go to the gym, when I didn't have work or anything, I would be going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. And that was like, I spent so much of my free time going there and playing video games. And that would pretty much just be like my life. And then when the whole pandemic shutdown thing happened, I started working out at home. I got equipment to put in my garage, and I've discovered that working out at like home working out. So like I'll go out, open up the garage, put on some music, work out. I love it, dude.
yeah,
When I've discovered that when I'm older, I'm gonna put a lot of money into just having a workout set up either somewhere in the backyard or somewhere outside because working out outside just I don't know, dude. It just like gives me such a better pump. Like I don't know.
yeah,
I
that
like
makes
being
sense.
outside and I like working out and outside starts making me sweat more. Starts makes you gives you that grit and it's just
Yeah,
I've discovered that working out outside for me is so much better, dude. Like the idea of going to a gym, driving to a gym, and having to wait for equipment it just dude like I'd rather put invest the money into workout equipment and be able to work out at home whenever I want to than have to pay a membership and go there. I totally understand you needing the motivation to go somewhere and to be surrounded by the people of the same interest
yeah,
and working out together. I totally get that, dude, because the gym that I would go to I knew everyone on a first name basis. It was pretty chill. It was a small gym, and so that's just kind of how the environment was. But uh, I mean, I could definitely relate how you feel to like me doing schoolwork in my room because before the pandemic, my room was like where I chilled, played video games, talked to you and the other friends, and played video games with you and stuff. And this is my relax spot. This is where I
yeah.
would go to sleep to watch videos on my computer or whatever, play my Xbox when I still had it, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then for that space to turn into my workspace now and focusing so much of my time into schoolwork on my computer, it was definitely a transition. I fell asleep in a lot of my Zoom classes in the first semester of college, and it was pretty bad. But those were usually my night classes. My night classes, I would definitely because my night classes would run a little late, and some professors go off on tangents and they don't focus on what we're supposed to learn. So then the class will end up going like an hour, 45 minutes past the time where we're supposed to be out. And so that wasn't fun because I just wanted to go to sleep. But
Yeah.
I could definitely relate to that. I could relate to how being in an environment where you're used to relaxing, and especially in your house or in your room, and trying to work out in that environment, that can be a little, disencouraging, I guess is the right word to say. Um, but I could definitely relate to that. I could see how you need to be in a space where everyone has the same goal in mind and everyone is in the right headspace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can get that.
Yeah, about
I
the
can get
home
behind that.
gym. I was kind of like talking about more like just like core exercise because like I don't have like I have equipment here like I have like dumbbells and stuff like that. But like I know you have like a bench press and everything, so like I wasn't really taking that into account. Like if I had that stuff, like I had an actual bench press, if I had like a squat bar and everything, like I would totally like be motivated all the time because like that's mainly like what I want to like I work out with when I go to the gym. But like I don't have that
Mm-hmm.
stuff here because like I don't really have that kind of space like in my garage to put stuff like that. Like I can
Mm.
definitely manage and put it, and on top of that, like it's pretty costly. Like I know I can like if I really wanted to, I could do it. But I just don't really have like the time like right now to do it. But
Of course.
like if I was able to like have like your setup, like outside, like I would totally do it every day. But I was kind of just like during at least the pandemic, yeah, so let's just talk about like the pandemic, like me like getting a workout. Like I was broke at the time. I was like a senior. I had no money on my belt. I was pretty much laid off because our store closed down. So I didn't really have the money to like buy a bench press, buy more equipment. I kind of had to do
Mhm.
with what was already here at home, and everything here at home was just more so like I said, dumbbells, like core like workout like resistant bands and stuff like that. So that's what I used for a bit. But it just wasn't really enough to keep me like motivated because I wanted to lift weights. I want to do some cardio. I went on a couple runs every morning, or I tried to, but I mainly just wanted to like lift weights. But like like I said, during whenever it was like last year 2020, I didn't have that much money yet. I hadn't. I didn't really have the luxury of wanting to get it now. I had to work my way throughout the year to get a nice source of income during the pandemic. So when my job opened back up, it was like okay, well I'm now getting some money, so now I'm able to maybe get myself a home gym. But then I was like, well I've gone to like gyms before, so I just ended up going to like this gym near my area and I've just been there since, but like I don't know, I ain't too happy. So honestly, I think I might look into doing a home gym because, like you said, it's convenient, and especially doing it outside, it gives you that extra pump. So yeah, that's definitely something that I want. I could just wake up and go outside and do it, but like core
Mhm.
exercises, like I was doing in the garage, and it just wasn't really enough for me. So I might take that into account. Who knows? So
I mean, yeah, I totally get that. I mean, dude, you don't even need that much money really to be able to work out at home. The first 4 or 5 months of the pandemic, when I wasn't able to go to the gym, I had, let's see, what did I have? I had resistance bands, a pull-up bar, and that's it. So the
nice.
way I would get my pumps in, the way I would get my workouts in is to work on my pull-ups, all sorts of versions of pull-ups. I would work on my abs and my core by doing tons of body exercises. And I ended up getting a better chest and shoulder pump and like building my muscle a lot more and um, my like just body strength. I ended up building that up so much more by
Mm,
using my pull-up bar, by you doing push-ups, different versions of push-ups. I mean, this is pretty expensive, but I did recently get a weight vest. So
mm,
I did get a weight vest from a company called Go Ruck, and they sell a lot of cool stuff. It's kind of on the pricey side. I got it for Christmas, so I technically didn't buy it, but
nice.
yeah,
Free
it was about
stuff.
yeah, it's a 20-pound solid weight block,
Damn.
and it's a little vest that they put it in there. And honestly, it feels a lot heavier than 20 pounds, but I guess it is 20 pounds. But once you start building up pull ups with that and push ups, and you start, building up your
Right.
body weight, especially with the 20 pounds, dude, the pump is unreal. It's a workout and a pump that I haven't experienced before, and it's almost harder than putting 3 plates on a bench and benching it, because my max used to be, I don't know what my max is now, probably not nearly as much, but I used to be able to do 2 plates of 25, 10, 5, and that was like kind of like my 5 rep max, I think, or 4 rep. That's definitely gone down a bit. I could probably only do like maybe a plate and 25 right now. But I haven't even tried, dude. Like I don't have that kind of weight right now with my set. But hopefully in the near future I can start getting some Olympic weights. They're just so expensive, dude. Like even used ones, they're just so pricey, and with the money that I'm making right now, I cannot afford that.
Mm.
But
Yeah,
I
we
will
sound like
eventually do it.
such meatheads right now.
Dude, okay. Just to disclose, we are not meat. We just work out. We're not meatheads. We don't do stir.
Dude,
We
I
don't.
work out like twice a week.
Dude, I'm lucky if I work out even 3 times a week or two. Like, I don't work out that much anymore because my
Yeah,
summer classes demand so much of me right now. I spend so much of my free time, if I even have any, of just doing homework.
yeah.
I'm assigned like 25 assignments each week,
Um,
so
I was
it's
gonna
pretty
say
bad.
something. Yeah, during the pandemic when like everything was closed down, I want to say like from like March 2020 to like this summer when like literally nothing was open. Like I wasn't doing like as much exercise as I should have been. But at the same time, I didn't really like notice like a change in like weight. I don't know. I'm going back to when I said like during the pandemic, like I focused on myself. Like I saw myself like especially like eating a lot less than what I was, but not in an unhealthy way. Like I was constantly drinking water. I was constantly, eating like having 3 course meals, balancing my meals. So like I don't know. I feel like I didn't really need to like do that much exercise during that time because I was just constantly eating right. I was drinking constant water. I can't say the same nowadays. I fell out of it. I don't know why. Like I said, I have responsibilities now. Than like a year and a half ago when like literally everything was shut down and all I did was at home. So I should probably go back to doing that. But like I was just constantly drinking water. I was constantly eating right. I don't know what it was. Like whenever I don't have responsibilities in my life, and I'm just like constantly like at home all this free time, I always manage my. I always find myself being more productive in terms of like my health and what I do rather than like oh I have to go to work, oh I have schoolwork. I'm constantly stressing about like those two things. Like I'm like oh I wish I had more free time. So when I am like stressing about that, I'm stressing about eating. I'm like I gotta eat right, but then it's like I get lazy because it's like I'm just thinking about work and school, and it's like I'm just gonna try and get something quick like fast food and go to work or go back to doing my schoolwork. So I think for me it's weird. It's like when I have no responsibilities, I find myself being more responsible about myself rather than when I do have responsibilities, I kind of lose that sense of control in myself. I don't know. It's
Of
weird.
course.
It's
Yeah,
it's
dude. You
it's so
totally.
weird.
You just literally explained the American society and how it is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there are so many problems that we can get into about how the society in the U.S. is so fast paced, and
Yeah.
how the reason why not most, but a good amount of Americans are unhealthy,
Hmm.
and we're not even, dude. If you want to eat healthy, you have to have good income, and
That's
that's the
true.
worst thing about the U.S. to me. Although I love my country, all I'm saying is that if you want to eat healthy, if you want a healthy lifestyle, you're gonna have to put in so much time and so much money that
That's
most
very
people do
true.
not have.
Yeah.
And so, dude, if you want like a healthy meal, I can guarantee this. If you want to make a healthy meal for you and the average family in the US, probably about 2 parents, maybe even 1 parent, a lot of single parents out there, like my mom, and you can have 3 kids, 2 kids. And if you want to afford a good meal for the basic nuclear family in the US, dude, especially a healthy one, it's going to
Right.
cost you a lot of money.
It is.
I mean, and that's why fast food is so accessible, and and that's why a lot of people are very unhealthy right now, is because fast food is accessible, it's quick, it's cheap, and it fills you up because of all the shit that's in there.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be a hypocrite. I do the same thing. I get fast food a good amount of the time. I
Yeah.
mean, I try and eat as healthy as I can, but especially nowadays with how fast the society moves and how go that everyone is here, it's very hard to keep a healthy lifestyle and be able to work, be able to go to school, be able to chase whatever career you're pursuing So, I mean, I can totally get why you fell out of the whole, you were losing good weight, you weren't, and you were drinking water, you were keeping a healthy lifestyle. And I could totally get that too, because I was doing the same thing. With the pandemic, it was kind of easy because I actually never stopped working. Even during the pandemic, I still worked at my old job. We never shut down. So I was still getting paid. But even if I was getting paid what I was getting paid, I wouldn't be able to have the time or even the money to be able to afford a healthy lifestyle. And it's hard because your parents won't be able to afford it either. I mean, there's so many bills to pay now. There's so many taxes. There's so many ways that our society takes money away from the money that we earn. And so it's very hard for us to be able to afford that lifestyle. And the only people who can really afford that type of lifestyle are sadly higher middle class, sometimes middle class, upper class. Those people are allowed to buy these products for the price that they are. And it does suck because I mean, I really hope it changes because I want my future family, if I do end up having a family or future wife, whatever. eh, you know, I want us to be able to afford a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah,
And it really sucks that a healthy lifestyle in the US is so much harder to be able to attain
yeah.
than um, the basic.
Hmm.
I don't even know how to describe it. The basic diet, U.S. diet, probably what I would say like 3 times a week fast food.
Yeah.
Could be anything.
I think it's
Sometimes
I
it could be
think it's
four
like
days.
once or twice a week, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just trying to like exaggerate it a little bit, just trying to get my point across that having a healthy lifestyle in the U.S.
Yeah.
is very hard to attain, and I think that some people who are listening to this can relate to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially single parents. I mean, it is very hard for one person to be able to take care of kids or you know take care of themselves even sometimes because I mean California real estate is fucked.
Yeah, for
So
real.
it's very hard for us to be able to do that. That's why I'm kind of planning to move out of state once I do get all my schooling done.
Mm.
But I just think, I mean, you can't move to Texas anymore because all the freaking people are getting ideas to move to Texas because it used to be cheap, but it's not even going to be cheap by the time I'm able to move. It's
Yeah.
probably going to be almost the same mark, uh, you know.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. I've heard a lot of stories. I think that what a lot of I mean, I'm not just Americans, but even like in other countries too, because I know like countries in Asia have this problem pretty bad. They can't really maintain a work and life balance, so to speak. Um,
hmm
I've seen like videos on YouTube of like South Koreans especially. Their work schedule is insane. They'll come home, super tired because they're just working all day. Their work ethic, not just Korea. Even Asia, and even here in the States or anywhere else in the world, you'll find people anywhere in any sort of country who like can't really maintain a work and balance life, and it's hard. Like we're fortunate us too, to be so young because we do have like, all this time. We don't have to worry about putting food on the table. We don't have to worry about paying bills. None of that stuff is really going to be like our issue just yet. That's like
right,
when we're going to be a lot older. When we have a family, when we have a house to pay for, car, whatever it is.
of
But
course,
I think a lot of the issues like that you're talking about, how families they can't really afford to put good food on the table for their children. A lot of that kind of stems from just being so stressed out in life. Because they can't maintain that work and balance life. They have to constantly work, be able to provide for their family, pay the bills and everything. But at the same time, they're not putting themselves first, and they're not making sure that they're not stressing out too much. They're not you know basically what I'm trying to say is that, and a lot of people around the world, like I said, I saw a document about in South Korea, but even here in America, like a lot of Americans, they're constantly working. They're being workaholics. They're not putting time in for themselves, and it really does like hurt your mental state too, because it's like you're not putting yourself first. You're not keeping in check with yourself, and all you're just doing is constantly working. You're constantly thinking about work, and you're stressing about work. It's not healthy in any sort of way. So, and on top of that, if you're not having any time for yourself, you're not going to have any time to make a nice meal for yourself. You're not going to have time to do something nice for yourself, buy yourself something nice. You're constantly working. And I think that um, like a lot of Americans, they're just constantly working and they need to find a way to, balance that work life schedule. But, everyone has their own issues. Everyone's different at the end of the day. So, I can't speak for Americans or everyone else in the world because everyone lives a different, unique life. But I think one of the biggest keys in life, especially, is to just maintain a good work life balance and make sure that you're not working too much, and to make sure you're not having not too much free time either, because then you're going to get into the habit of becoming sort of lazy. You're not going to become productive. So it's always better to balance everything out. Make sure you're always on the run. Make sure you're always doing something. As long as you look at it as productivity and it's not rooting your other aspects in life, it's good.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely understand your point. It's just it's sad to see how with how society has evolved that the main thing, if you ask anyone, uh, especially in California, if you walk up to someone and say what's like the goal, what is, what do you have to do in order to have the self fulfillment,
Yeah.
that everyone's chasing, and I bet you most people would say be rich, be fortunate, anything that have to do with money. And
Yeah, that's
money
bad.
has become such a pinpoint in people's brains that the first thing that they think about is, oh my God, how am I going to make enough money to support
Right.
this?
Yeah.
In order to do anything really, not anything obviously, but in order to be able to quote unquote live a good life and be able to support your family, you have to make a lot of money. And money is the pinpoint. Money is at the top of the triangle, dude. The
Hmm.
hierarchy of needs, honestly, in US economy, money is at the top. And
Sadly.
it sucks. It's not for everyone.
Mm-mm.
I
Um.
don't think that money is at the top. I'm sure you don't think that money is the
No,
biggest thing, but
definitely.
from an economic perspective and from a livelihood perspective, it's there. That is at the top. Being rich and having enough money is the biggest thing, and that's it's sad. It's sad to think about how this is such a big thing in life, and how people work hard not in order to be happy, but in order to have enough money to support themselves and support the people that they love.
Yeah.
And
Man, we just went
and
we
it,
just went all philosophical on everyone.
yeah, I know we're going
You're going deep.
philosophical right now, but I mean,
It's the
dude,
truth
these are
though.
problems. These are problems that people need to talk about,
Yeah.
and it's good to, because everyone, not everyone, obviously. When I say everyone, I just mean a good amount of people uh have this same feeling in their head, and I think that when they listen to other people talk about it, it can really open up a part of their mind and a part of their thinking process that can promote them thinking on this issue and thinking, am I really happy? Because I mean, I can say that from not sixth grade, seventh grade to ninth grade, halfway through ninth grade, so middle school, started middle school to freshman year, I was not in the right headspace. I was super depressed. I had no confidence in myself. I really didn't think that I was gonna amount to anything. I mean, that was partly my fault because of the people that I surrounded myself with,
Yeah.
and due to my own self-pity. And I really appreciate the people around me, like you, especially my mom, and the other people around me who love me, to bring me out of that funk that I was in. It took me a really long time to get into the right headspace, the right motivation, and the right self-confidence in order for me to be able to aspire to something and become something.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a goal set in mind now. I have people around me who are supporting me in that goal, and it took a lot. And I think it's sad because a lot of kids and people, not just kids, adults, they're going through the same thing. They're not in
Yeah.
the right headspace. They're not happy. I mean, dude, especially marriages, like California, divorce rates are, they're
Yeah. They're
skyrocketing.
yeah they're
Like
bad.
I mean, they don't understand that there's going to be tons of hardships in a marriage, and the way the economy is right now, that's affecting it a lot. Money is a huge issue in families, and it just sucks that these people are so blinded by the pursuit of that they don't see that they do love that person. Although some marriages, they don't work out, but I do believe that a lot of marriages could be saved without the stress of this weighing on them. and it just sucks to see so many families being torn apart because of this one issue.
Yeah.
Well, not one issue, it's a bunch of other issues, but this is the main one.
Yeah,
So,
I totally agree. You know, it at least for I don't know. I don't know much about marriage because I'm not married, obviously.
me neither, dude. I don't know anything, but I
But
guess I'm just going based off like like things that I've seen
yeah,
and just things that I've heard people talk about.
yeah, no, totally. I think like a lot of people who are married, like you said, there's always going to be hardships and struggles in a marriage. It's never going to be perfect, and I think everyone knows that too. But I think what a lot of people do as well is that they marry so young and they're not actually like ready for that kind of commitment yet. No, I'm not even talking about like a relationship like in itself, like a long lasting relationship. I'm just like talking about like an actual marriage, like the idea of being married to someone, you know, being tied to this person, you know, for the rest of your life, you know, because if you think about it from like a religious standpoint, like I'm not religious either, but you know, marriage is something that's supposed to be sacred. You know, it's not something that's meant to be split like that. So I think that like a lot of people, they marry young and they're not actually ready for something like that. So that's why they
Mhm.
divorce, like years later. There's always leading problems, because people just aren't ready yet. And everyone's different, in their own way. Like I'm saying, every relationship, every marriage, has has their unique struggles. Everything's different. So I can't really speak for anyone's marriage or anyone's relationship at the end of the day. But what I can say is for sure is that there's always going to be some sort of hardship, and there's always going to be a struggle. But I think as long as like you work it out, you talk it out, as long as you guys are able to be communicative about it, at least there will be like light to the end of that tunnel. But I think marriage nowadays, I mean, I think like a lot of people like our age don't even want to marry because they know that like marriage like nowadays just ends up being like a disaster. So it's definitely something that you have to be careful about. And marrying so
Oh
young,
yeah.
it's you got to be really careful with it because like if you marry young, then you're making this big risk. Not I shouldn't say risk, but you're taking a big leap in life. And you should probably think about it.
Yeah, because you
But
never know if you're ready for it, dude.
yeah,
Like, I mean, yeah,
you can be
I
so
could,
infatuated. You can be so infatuated with somebody. You can be so in love with someone. It makes sense why someone would marry, so young. I need to put myself in, someone else's shoes who's thinking about it too. It's like that rush that you get that you don't really feel for someone else, and that's why people jump so fast into marrying. But you got to put like a second thought of this. Like people don't really realize like I'm gonna have to spend the rest of eternity with this person. I might potentially have a family with them. Because at the end of the day, like marriage, it's gonna be in history. For you're gonna have, children, grandchildren, grandchildren. You're gonna be a part of that ancestry. That whole big tree, with a bunch of other people. And yeah, like at the end of the day, it's gonna be history. Like you need to be comfortable, with sharing your entire legacy, your entire like history, like as a person, with this other person. So,
yeah, of course. I mean, dude, marriage is almost like it's almost forced. It's with so many people's lifestyles and so many people's backgrounds. I could definitely see how some people who think they have to marry they're almost forced to be in a lifelong relationship with this person. I
right,
think honestly that it's way better to be in a relationship with someone for a little while, move in, and I think moving in is a big part because when you move in with another person, you see how you guys click and you see how you guys work
exactly,
and
yeah,
adapt. And so when you move in with someone, if it works out, dude, and you guys have a good flow going, get married because you know you love that person. But so many people get married so early and they're stuck. They almost feel stuck, and that's why so many divorce rates are so high because they get married so early, then they feel stuck in this relationship that they didn't even know they wanted in the first place if
right,
they wanted it, and so they have that eye-opening experience to where I got married to this person so quick. And at
right,
the point where I married them, I didn't even know if I wanted to get married to them. And
exactly,
then when, especially, I mean, I can speak on experience from seeing how certain marriages work, especially so many abusive marriages and so
hmm,
and stuff like that. I mean, to get into that whole aspect, I mean,
yeah,
you don't truly know a person until you live with them,
that's
and
very true.
and
That's
and
super true.
that's that's the biggest
Yeah,
thing, dude, is that so many people get into these relationships. It's just like you said, they get so infatuated with it, and they're so blindly in love, and
yeah,
they're in that honeymoon stage, and so they just real quick. I want to move in with you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Yeah.
They get married, and then they kind of just have that crisis where it's like, why did I marry this person? Do I
Right.
love them? Do I still love him or her?
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
non-binary with how people, how they identify now. It's just, it really sucks to see certain people
Wait, what?
be brought down to this hole. And sometimes, a good amount of time, the person isn't even able to dig themselves out of it after a divorce. A divorce can ruin someone.
Right.
And, uh, it has many times. And it just it sucks that, I mean, I think slowly it's being promoted to that marrying and having children is not something that you have to do. And I think within the next 10 to 15 years, it's going to be very mainstream not to get married and not
Yeah.
to
I
have
mean,
children.
that's
You
already
know,
like popular among like people our
exactly,
age.
exactly.
Yeah, they don't.
Among like older people, or it's getting very popular among them to not have kids and not have to get married when they're moved in with each other. And I
Yeah,
like that a lot, because you don't ever want to be forced into something that you don't want to do. And that
exactly.
was the case with even people in like the old, 1900s. Like, they would get married. It was expected. Dude, my grandma got married to my grandpa when she was 16.
Yeah, my mom married at like 19.
Yeah, can you imagine, dude? Can you imagine us being married right now and
That's
having
insane.
kids?
Well, I think
I can't imagine that.
society back then was like way different too, you know.
Exactly, exactly.
So it makes
And I
sense.
totally get that. Yeah, I totally get that. But I'm glad that nowadays it's being very much promoted to not have to do these things
Hmm.
and to have different lifestyles, because
That's so
I
true.
think I really want people around us and everywhere around the world, and I wish, we could achieve happiness throughout the whole country, but that's not possible. It's never going to happen. But I
Yeah.
really want everyone to be truly happy and doing what makes them happy.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and that I mean, that's the whole, it's the pursuit of happiness right there, man. Shout out to Will Smith. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, when I
And
watched
Jaden
that
Smith.
movie, yeah, Will Smith and Jaden Smith, man. When after
Can't
watching
leave
that
him out.
movie, I'm like, dude, like, the
That's a sad
pursuit of
movie.
happiness, yeah, it's super sad, but it really does open your eyes to, like, the bigger picture.
Yeah. Single
And
father.
you
Shit
know, the
sucks.
pursuit of happiness is to be around ones you love and to do whatever makes you happy. You don't have to work a 9 to 5. You don't have to make a shit ton of money. You
Mm-mm.
don't have to live in this huge giant house or be super fortunate. You know,
Yeah,
the people that you surround yourself is love, and that's happiness. And as long
exactly.
as you're happy, you're not wasting your life.
For real. Yeah,
And so,
love is the key to life. That's what I've learned.
exactly, exactly. Love and compassion. If everyone had it, the world would be a way better place,
It
man.
would be.
If everyone had compassion for each other, if everyone had empathy
Yeah.
for each other,
I
the world would just
1000%
be
agree.
a better
Because
place.
I remember when I heard that quote. So I don't know where I read it or heard it. But I was like, damn. Yeah, that might be true.
Yeah, man,
Maybe
fact.
a lot of people, should grasp onto that idea. But it is what it is. Like you said,
Exactly.
not every, this country's never going to be perfect, and no country
Hell
really
no.
ever will be too. But
But it's super easy for us to say this than to act on it, and a lot of people don't realize that. It's super easy to say, for me to say, "Oh man, I want everyone to be happy. I think everyone that should have love and empathy." It's another thing to see that in the real world and to take time away from whatever you were doing in order to help out another person. And
right,
people just need to realize that actions most of the time do speak louder than words. And I really
yeah,
hope that
for sure.
that someday that everyone can feel for one another and have empathy for one another, even if it's not everyone, but
Yeah.
can have empathy for another person
Well,
that's just,
I
a
think,
random person.
yeah, I think society is sort of moving in that direction, but there's
I
still
hope
going to
so.
be, yeah. I mean, I see it like people moving into that direction because people our age, they are very vocal about like interpersonal struggles, like mental health, and on top of that, people are speaking up for the trauma that they've had in their life. So the light is being shined onto the right people, and people are being given the chance to speak up about issues that really do matter in this country, rather than back then where it was actually like looked down upon. If you were a guy like I don't know, like during the '80s or whenever, during the 1900s, if you were to speak on about, how you truly feel, you'd be like super down upon, you'd just be told to like man up, do this, do that. And it really like brings you down. 'Cause it's like, it's not really like that, you're not always, you're always portrayed to be, to be like this macho guy, but like at the end of the day, like, everyone is their own person. And, if you bring one person, down, it's just that just affects them even more,
Exactly. There's no point in being mean to someone if you don't have anything, either nice or constructive criticism to say to another person.
Yeah.
Because I do believe in constructive criticism. Obviously,
Yeah.
I don't believe in the whole saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it, because that's stupid. I mean, there's things that people can say that can really not put down a person, but can open their eyes to how they can do something better, or how, because
Yes.
everyone needs criticism. Everyone needs to know that what they're doing can be done better, and to introduce them to that.
Right.
And so I believe in, if you have something nice to say it. If you have some constructive criticism that's not going to bring them down, but can possibly bring them up, go for it.
Yeah, as long as
I
you're
mean,
not a dick about
everyone-
it.
Dude, everyone's not perfect. Everyone can use advice.
Right.
If someone walks up to me and say, "Hey, you're not doing this right. You could do it this way. Here you go." Or "Hey, especially because I'm colorblind, you're not matching." Like my girlfriend always says, "Change your clothes." Like, I don't take offense to that. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you're right." I look in the mirror. Oh yeah, I'm not matching. A light brown doesn't match with brown. That's right. Like. So I mean, take everything with a grain of salt.
Right.
Like, everything you hear isn't gonna be nice. But if someone says something mean to you, don't give into it, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you mad, and they're trying to get you upset. But if you just stay strong and you do your thing, you do whatever makes you happy, and do it well.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there is definitely what is my
Yeah.
key to fulfillment in my life. So on that note, I think we should probably wrap this up for the first episode.
Yeah, I wanted to bring
this
up
episode-
one more point real quick.
Okay,
Yeah.
go for it, bro.
Yeah, because I was like super involved or super into the what do you call it? The fuck. It was on the tip of my tongue. Oh, it was the during the pandemic. It kind of ties into what we were just talking about. A lot of people during the pandemic, like even like not even like when it first started, but like even like a year later, like even right now, like a lot of people, like everyone handles it a different way. You handled it differently than I did, and I'm pretty sure most people, might feel the same way. They handled it a lot different. So it goes to each person, how they took the pandemic for themselves. Like for me, like I took it nicely. I actually really enjoyed, being at home all the time. Others might feel it differently. They might have felt like they were just trapped all day. They might have just felt that, there was nothing to do. For me at least, like I was never the biggest like social person. Like I didn't like in high school. Like I wasn't like the most outstanding like social person. In class, you would just see me like with earbuds in, and I'd literally like just be sleeping the entire class. Like I had classes where like the teacher themselves would be like, "Hey, wake up!" there had been a couple times where that happened to me, but at least for me, like I found the pandemic to be pretty cool. Not cool in the sense of like what was happening like out in the world, but like cool like as in like, oh, I didn't have to wake up for school every day. I didn't have to do all these responsibilities and everything. That probably came off a little ignorant, but I'm not talking about like the bigger issues in the world, because they obviously matter, and I'm glad people fought for the right, not the rights, the like being vocal about it. They fought for vocalization in other countries, and they made it a bigger issue than what other people might have thought it was. But like in terms of like my lifestyle, like my perception of like the pandemic when it came to like my own lifestyle, I really didn't see it that different than what I was already used to, so I handled it pretty well. It was shitty what was happening around the world, and I'm very fortunate. I'm very glad that I took precaution in staying at home. I, socially distanced. I wore a mask if I needed to go outside. I was always very, cautious of what I was doing. Always, washing my hands, sanitizing them, and, getting, what's it called? Like COVID tests, like every so often to make sure that I was, still safe. Because stuff like that is really serious. But like when it comes to like the pandemic, everyone handled it differently, or handles it, because a lot of people still, they still feel that they might have to socially distance, and that's okay. Everyone's different, everyone's unique, and at the end of the day, everyone handles it differently.
Yeah, I totally get. I totally get what you're saying. So, yeah, I mean, everyone deals with the pandemic differently. Some people got really depressed. Some people
Yeah,
really
exactly.
liked it. Some people really appreciate it. And I mean, that's okay. Everyone experiences everything differently, and that's just how the cookie crumbles.
To each to their own. Like, I don't know. I already said what I
Exactly.
need to say. So
To
everyone,
each their
everyone,
own, man.
yeah,
I
to
mean,
each to their
everyone
own.
has their own experiences, and
Yeah,
hopefully
their
everyone could
own,
help
yeah,
out each other.
yeah, their own interpersonal struggles, and as long as you're letting others, like, as long as you have like a support group around you, people who you can go to about issues and stuff, then you're really gonna see like problems like that,
Hmm.
like not come to a closure, but you're really gonna see progress in kind of like recovering,
Yeah,
So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
ready, man. Well, that was the first episode of the Tendercast. Definitely ran a lot longer than we think we did, but that's just what happens when two guys start talking.
Hell yeah,
And
we went philosophical. We
hell
started talking
yeah,
about
dude.
life and stuff, about marriage. We're only 19 talking about marriage.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But hey, we know a lot, right? We know a lot for 19-year-olds.
very
So,
intelligent 19-year-olds.
alrighty. Well, thanks for everyone who listened to the first episode. This will be a wrap, and we will talk to you guys in the next one.
All right, let's go. See you.
See ya.